Hello to all my fellow glorious Gaians. So I'm going to deviate a little bit from my regular intro. Who here needs a little bit of hyping up? Because I know I sure as shit do. I don't know if it's Mercury retrograde or what's in the air, but if you're like me and you're feeling a little bit low, this is going to be the reading for you. We're going to tell you what the fuck is awesome about you, right? So if you're new here, hi, welcome. I hope you find that something here is beneficial for you. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for giving me another chance to read your energy. If you are interested in a personal reading with me, you can find my contact information in the description box down below. And send me an email and I'll send you a list of my services. All right. This is Guidance Through Gaia, and I am Amber, your tarot card reader. So today we are using these oracle cards to figure out how to hype you up. Like, what makes you a badass, right? And then we're going to be using tarot to look into how that is unexpectedly going to benefit you. And then we'll be getting some affirmations that allow you to kind of embrace this energy more, all right? We've got 3 piles here, and one thing that I think is really interesting is that there's messages in each sticker. So we've got group number 1 with girl power, group number 2 with oof, and then group number 3 with this Jeep, but it says, remember, I love you. And I think that's really fitting. You know, this is all about messages that are hyping you up, and there are literal words and phrases on these stickers. So go ahead, choose your pile or piles, and I'll see you at your reading. Bye. All right, group number 1, if you chose girl power, this is going to be your hype up session reading. Okay, let's lay out the oracle cards. Woo! They are spilling out. So we've got 49 with 11th house and community. We've got lace. We've got door. We've got hen. We've got card number 6 with the worker. Kind of interesting how this is kind of farm themed, and then this is also, you know, an animal on a farm. We've got high priestess. We've got male, female, and we have Litha with intensification. Ooh, boy, this is juicy, group number 1. So first and foremost, you are somebody that people really enjoy being around. You are an inspiration to others. They may see you as somebody who is very wise, very spiritually connected, or just overall has a lot of insight and knowledge, a high intuition. You're somebody that knows how to bring people together for a common interest, just either to bring enlightenment or to make things fun. There's a certain elegance that you have, group number 1, that people find really attractive about you. Like, you're a little bit, you may seem a little bit delicate, but in the most beautiful of ways, right? So like, we think about old fabrics that they used to use, and the material was durable, but it was gorgeous. It was unique. It was embellished. People see you as somebody who is welcoming, and somebody who has the power to walk through doors, right? You know how to make things happen, group number 1, in ways that other people don't. You have, and I think you're also inviting. There may be somewhat of a nurturing quality to you, with the hen that makes me think of like a mother hen. And there's something very fertile about you, whether it's like physically you may be very fertile, but you also may just have a lot of fertile ideas. I'm getting that you really see deeply into the root of issues, and when your presence walks into a room, It's something that magnifies the energy. Like you are that it girl, that it guy. You are the person who draws in stares. You are the person that people talk about in very positive ways, about your accomplishments, about your beauty, about your character. You're somebody who isn't afraid of hard work. You really do. Like I said, you get the job done. And you are able to sow seeds in ways that people may initially have their doubts, but your actions speak for themselves. The results speak for themselves. You're the kind of person who can literally take a plant that's dying and bring it back to life. And like 6 months down the road, right? Someone might come over to your house and be like, wow, that's a really nice plant. Where'd you get it? And you'd be like, oh, yeah, it's that one that I picked up off the side of the road. And they're like, wait, that little twig? Like, how did it grow into that? There's something very colorful about you. You may have like a bold sense of style. And I think that you have a voice that carries. It could be literally like you may be very good at projecting your voice, but I think it's also just a voice that like whatever you have to say sticks with people. They really ruminate, not necessarily ruminate, but they reflect on words that you have said to them for long periods of time. There might be something that you said that people reference quite often, or if you said something and it kind of like triggered recognition in another person, or triggered a wound, it might be something that this person reflects on a lot until like however it impacts them finally clicks. You're someone who does hold a lot of power, and for those of you who maybe like androgynous or do drag, or maybe like non-binary, gender fluid, there's something that really sticks out about you in a very positive way. There's like a confidence in that, and like how you can embrace that side of yourself, or like how openly you express it. It almost sometimes, I think, for some people seems seamless and effortless, and you may not feel that way. You may feel that you do have insecurities, or that you've struggled with adapting the style and the mannerisms that help you feel comfortable in that form of expression and that identity. But others look at you and they're like, oh my God, perfection. You very likely do have some sort of psychic connection, whether you recognize that or not. It could be just like what you would see as a gut feeling or an intuitive nudge. But there's something very open about you that is like just it's receptive to what is going on around you. You may be somebody who does find that like you get an intuitive nudge right before somebody calls, or you get a gut feeling that maybe you need to check on something, and then you find out like, oh, good thing that I did because this was missing, or, I didn't have this ingredient. You could get a sense that somebody maybe is kind of off, and then you find out later that they really were like devious or malicious or just an unsafe person to be around. I do think some people could potentially see you as somebody who's able to come in and make change, somebody who's not afraid of the nitty-gritty. You have a way of really getting to the core of issues. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're the kind of person who has like started a union in your workplace, or petitioned for things to change in your community, in your work, in your politics, in your school. overall, there's just this feeling of elegance and confidence, bringing people together, having a deep connection with the world around you. And even if you're not like LGBTQ plus, like you might just have a very good balance of masculine and feminine qualities. You might have times where you are able to be like softer and more receptive, and then times where you're able to be like more aggressive and assertive. Okay. So, and also you're really good at blocking out unwelcome energy, whether that could be literal people or opportunities. Maybe you're somebody who, like, when you feel like you're in a negative space or in a negative mood, you're able to kind of like tune that out and recenter yourself. Trying to see if there's anything else that really stands out. No. Okay, so how will this unexpectedly benefit you? How will this unexpectedly benefit group number 1? We got the King of Wands. It's all wanting to pop out reverse, but then it like flips up. How will this unexpectedly benefit group number 1? We've got the 8 of Pentacles. The Empress in reverse. Okay. What's this Empress in reverse here? We've got the Emperor in reverse. All right, let's just get clarifiers for all of them. So let's get a clarifier for the King of Wands, the Hanged Man, the 9 of Wands. Let's do the Hierophant. The Ace of Swords in reverse. The 8 of Pentacles. The Chariot in reverse. Oh, okay. Here's what I'm seeing. How this is going to work in your favor, group number 1, is there is somebody in your energy, whether that's a parent, a partner, a friend, a competitor, a coworker, someone, whomever, right? You've tried to explain something to them. You've tried to show them direction. You've given your input, and whether it's just like, this is my gut feeling, or, you know, you have receipts for like, this is the way we should do something, or this is what's going to work. And there's somebody who has disagreed with you, right? And they're like, no, I'm not buying it. So they've chosen to go a different path. And they're trying to establish something without all of the information, or with this Ace of Swords in reverse, it could be based on like an illusion or a misunderstanding or a misconception. And they're going to be putting all of their hard work into it. They're really committed to doing things their way. And shock of all shocks, it's not going to work. They're not going to get anywhere with it. Okay? So I do feel like this is going to be a moment for you where it's like the proof is in the pudding. You knew group number one. You knew the answer. You knew the path. You knew the problem. And this person just couldn't see it that way. They did not take your advice. They did not take your direction, whether it was because they were naive or because they were arrogant. And so this is giving you the opportunity to just watch it unfold, right? Like, you don't even have to say anything. At the end of the day, the way that they've orchestrated things is going to be proving to be unfruitful. It's not going to be successful. And whether this is a situation where they turn around and they're like, okay, let's do it group number one's way, or whether you just get to kind of wash your hands clean of it and go like, I told you so, King of Wands. I told you so. You know, I'm not entirely sure. It could be different for a variety of you, but there's going to be that satisfaction internally of you being like, I knew what the right thing was to do and you didn't follow through with it. And now you're having to deal with the consequences. And it's very likely other people will have the opportunity to see this, especially if this is like in a community setting, or if this is in like a workplace environment. They're going to be able to go like, oh, King of Wands wasn't it, right? Group one was on the right track. If this has more to do with like a personal relationship, I would anticipate that this person probably does come and admit defeat to you, or at the very least begrudgingly takes your advice and the route that you recommended, and has the opportunity to realize like, oh, okay, fine, group number one was right. So what affirmations can we get to just help you embody this confidence? I'm a Virgo, so I love that. I love that moment when it's like, okay, you go do the thing that you thought was the right thing, and just I'm gonna sit here and watch it not turn out the way it's supposed to. Okay. Virgos, we can be a little bit I told you so. Okay, so what affirmation do you have for group one to help them with their confidence? Literally, confidence. In this moment, I take a step back and look at myself with the pride of a good mother. I see an abundance of abilities and talents that show up all the time in big and little ways. If I could stick myself on a refrigerator, I would. I would invite all the neighbors over and say, look at that. Can you believe what an A+ that is? All right. Absolutely. Like, this may be a situation where, like, you're a teacher. And also just understanding, like, you know what you're doing. And maybe other people have to learn. And you do have a lot of lessons to provide others, whether they accept them or not. So ultimately, like, take pride in the fact that, like, you know your shit, group number one. You know what you're doing. Okay, so what other affirmation can we get for group number one? You are a divine facet of the universe. Absolutely. That just makes me think of this high priestess, high priest card right here. You know, you do have a higher purpose, and whether that's, you know, a higher purpose spiritually or a higher purpose in your job, in your family, in your community, but you are elevating group number one, and I think it's really important for you to take pride in that. So if you enjoyed this reading, I would really appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. If you resonated with it, please let me know how in the comment section down below. And if you would like to be a part of the family, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. If you would like a personal reading with me, just send me an email. My contact information is in the description box down below. And I'll send you a list of my services. All right, bye. Hello, group number 2. If you chose the oof sticker, then either you are Norwegian American or this is your message, your hype session message. So let's get into the oracle cards here. Okay, we have number 9 with Sagittarius and expand in reverse. We have card number 38 with Imam Koli with root. We have piano. We have card number 5 with the leaders. We have Egypt. We have trust and faith. And we have Imbolc with awakening. All right, so group number 2, excuse me, I would say first and foremost, you are, excuse me, your input is not appreciated. Thank you. Enough. They hear someone talking outside in the parking lot because God forbid other people exist. Give me just a second. All right, we're back. So group number 2, I would say you are an old soul. Okay, there is a lot of knowledge within you, and there's a sense of stability that comes with either just being a very perceptive, stable individual, or, you know, literally having lived multiple lifetimes. It could be that you've gone through a variety of experiences as well, you know, that have given you the ability to have a grounded perspective of life. There is something a little bit mysterious about you, maybe a little bit forbidden. You might actually really know a lot about Egypt, or you might have Egyptian background, and that could be something that's very unique in your community. There's something about you being unwavering, right? Like, in the face of adversity, you know who you are. You have a strong belief in your morality, in your intelligence, in your capabilities. And so even when things are kind of falling apart around you in the world, even if you do get emotional or you feel uncertain about your fate, at the very end of the day, you were able to come back to who you are, and you know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can utilize them. There is something very elegant and melodic about you. People really enjoy listening to you, and there could be something playful about you. You work really well with others. Either you are somebody who is just a natural born leader, and you are somebody who is also willing to work, with other people in leadership skills, which not everybody can do, right? Like, some people are very territorial. Some people want to be in the highest position possible, but that's not you, group number 2. You are somebody who realizes, like, I'm good at leading in some ways, but there may be some topics or some skills that I just am not proficient in. And it would be to everyone's benefit if there was another person involved, or if there were other people involved. You're someone who is very much willing to share the spotlight, and you're very willing to learn. You could also, especially if you don't really identify with being a leader, maybe you're somebody who's like, oh, I don't like to take charge. You're inspiring, okay? The way that you live your life, the way that you hold yourself, the way that you communicate your beliefs is inspiring to other people. And I think you could potentially, even without trying to, shape other people into being leaders. You know, people who are listening to you and going, you know what? Like, group number 2 has a lot of integrity, and group number 2 really brought light to a certain situation, or I really admire group number 2. And so I want to utilize what I have learned from them. And I do want to step into a leadership role. I do want to be somebody who shares this and is more assertive about the position. You know, you just overall are very inspiring. Like, look how this angel's hand is raised, you know, almost like a fist. You know, there's a certain level of resistance that you have, and I think that's to things like injustice, unfairness, inequality, inequity. You are somebody who is not willing to budge from your certain beliefs or your certain expectations. You very likely have a strong moral compass. I would imagine that while you are somebody who does seem to like to learn and explore, there are certain qualities and certain behaviors that you're just like, no, I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to let other people dictate what I should believe or how I should live my life. I would say you're somebody who is fairly consistent. You know, you aren't going to be the type of person who's going to change the very coding of who you are. Even if you are somebody who can adapt to different situations, to different lifestyles, to different interests, at the very core, like, you are who you are. And there's nothing that anybody can do or any situation that can arise that can shake that. And I think that's beautiful, because a lot of people, at the end of the day, some don't know who they are, right? And who we are can constantly shift throughout our lifetime. But I feel like for you, there's a certain solidarity, or a certain foundation that has just remained consistent throughout your entire lifetime. And even though you branch from that, it's still what you come home to. You're a very strong individual, group number 2, and probably somebody who has a deep history, right? Like, I'm just imagining a big oak tree or a big willow tree that you can tell has been there for decades, if not a century or more. You know, that people like to go and rest under. People find shade underneath. People look at and are in awe. And even though there's this root energy, right? This core to who you are, this sense of this, you know, this solid identity, you're also willing to grow. There's always new growth that you are embracing. And you could be somebody who likes to learn about a lot of different topics, who may pick up a lot of different hobbies. And there's a sense of peace about you, especially, like, you know, we've seen these lambs, and then we've got the angel here. You could be very angelic to a lot of people. People could see you maybe as, like, innocent, righteous, holy almost, and that might be something that you're kind of like, excuse me. Like, I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't think you're somebody who ever wants to have others, like, idealize you to that extent. But there may be times where you kind of question yourself and, like, how other people view you, and your motives for things. But just rest assured that, you know, there is a purity around you that people notice. And you're definitely not the kind of person people look at and feel like is going to be deceitful or self-interested. Like, people understand that you are kind and caring and generous, and you have other people's interests at heart. And I think with that exuding off of you, you also awaken that in other people. Like I said, there's a lot of inspiration that comes from just your existence. You don't even have to try. You don't have to do anything special. Like being around you, listening to you, experiencing your energy, watching you, people are like, wow, like there's something unique about group number 2. There's something genuine about group number 2. And I think it causes people to reflect on the ways that maybe they've been jaded, or that maybe they have been acting in ways that are self-interested or selfish. And sometimes it causes people to reconsider what their own motives are and how they're showing up in relationships and the kind of person that they want to be. You could also be a very talented musician, and just somebody who is really respected in your field. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else. Also, with Egypt and with trust and faith, there may be ways that you have mastered your behaviors, your career. Maybe there's knowledge that you have that other people are just kind of inspired by, in awe, like it's unique to them. They don't know how you were able to achieve that, how you were able to be elevated to that point. You could very easily write like a self-help book or be a motivational speaker, somebody who uses your own personal experiences and shares them with society. I really feel like you're somebody who just introduces new ideas, new concepts. You are the fresh blood, okay? And in societies that have been operating under the same families and same ideals for generations and generations and generations. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. So now we are going to take a look at how this will unexpectedly benefit you. How does this unexpectedly benefit group number 2? And there was a very specific message for group number 1. So, okay. We'll see if we get something equally as specific for you. Okay. How does this unexpectedly benefit group number 2? Okay, we've got the Tower in reverse with the 4 of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. How does this unexpectedly benefit? We've got the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. We get a clarifier for that, please. How does this unexpectedly benefit group number 2? The Page of Wands in reverse. And then we've got Death. And the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. all these cards. Okay, so group number 2, how this unexpectedly benefits you. You are able to see at some point the core of an argument or a fight. This could be with another person. This could be with an idea, an organization, a project. But if there's something where maybe you have had confusion about what the source is, or if you have felt maybe responsible for something, and you just have kind of misunderstood where the problem, the issue has truly lied, there's going to come clarity. You're going to finally be able to change your perspective on that and see what the problem was from an objective standpoint. And so there's going to be a crisis that's averted here. A crisis that would have been more chaotic had you tried to establish a foundation in a situation where there was a lack of resources, right? There was a lack of return or a lack of a foundation. You're seeing where there was a deficit and you're realizing why something didn't work out, and you're no longer trying to cooperate with that. You're no longer putting any energy into it. You are deciding that you are going to put your focus elsewhere, okay? And because otherwise it's like beating a dead horse, right? It's like trying to move a wall. There's an obstacle there that you don't have any control over, and so therefore you can't change it. So you are putting distance between yourself and this issue. That in and of itself is causing a change. Because you are no longer giving to this situation, that's where the transformation comes. I want to see if we can get information about what this transformation is. It's more transformation. So y'all, I gotta tell you this. Okay, so I was doing a reading for myself, and like I'm trying to get out of my headspace about a breakup, right? And so I was like, tell me what my first impression of my next romantic partner is gonna be. And I got the King of Wands, right? And I'm gonna be like, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Why do I have that in first impression? Like, what gives me that first impression? I shit you not, I got Judgment in reverse. I shit you not. So my poor judgment is but sometimes that's an example of how sassy the cards can be. But it just feels like what is transforming is the situation itself. It was something that you couldn't force to happen. And by removing your influence, by removing your efforts, that's really what causes the situation to shift. Can we get anything else? I really feel like the answer is going to be no. 8 of Cups in reverse. But just know that the situation isn't hopeless. Just because you're walking away doesn't mean that this circumstance is defeated or ended, okay? It could simply be that for whatever it is that you've experienced confusion about, whatever battle you've undergone, that it just required you to step back in order for it to grow and to change. I still can't get over that. Like, what is my first impression of my next romantic partner gonna be? The King of Wands. Justice in reverse. Not justice. Judgment in reverse. Because, girl, you blind. You're not seeing clearly. Story of my life. So, let's get some affirmations on how you can embody your confidence and, your energy. You're hyped up more. So, we have love. Love is a many-splendored thing. Today I will notice and appreciate at least 3 of those splendors, like the fact that puppies make me feel like a parent, or the surge of self-congratulation I feel when I sink a 3-point trash basket shot on the first try, or how about the chills I get while singing along to Name of Song. You know the one. And then ideal partnership. I am a rare and precious find, and my brilliance will be reflected back to me when I am paired with a true match. My ideal partnerships and working relationships are easy and free-flowing. I deserve greatness because I am greatness. And to paraphrase Rumi, what I'm looking for is also looking for me. In fact, he or she might be paraphrasing Rumi right now. So definitely, if you've been experiencing like negative thoughts because of this frustration, it's time to reshift your focus, right? Think about the positive things that are happening, the things that make you feel good, and recognize your worth. Group number 2. Recognize that you are valuable, that you are deserving, and that there are people out there who do appreciate you and people who will appreciate you. And that you don't have to fight to get the recognition that you deserve, right? So what other affirmation can we get to help group number 2 keep this confidence? Healing myself heals my lineage. So if there are any insecurities you have, like any wounds, attachment style wounds, codependency, hyper independence, maybe your self-worth regarding your attractiveness or your proficiency in your skills, it's really time to start going back and working on the root of, and that's really interesting. Oh my God, because we got a tree here. Holy crap, guys. You are doing so well. Like, listen to Steve from Blue's Clues, okay? You're doing great. But really it's time. Just go back and start focusing on where the root of those issues are. Go to a therapist if you need to, talk with friends if you need to, journal if you need to, do meditation or daily affirmations, shadow work, whatever it is that really helps you navigate through the wounds and addressing them. Do that, group number 2, because that's going to set you on the right path for building this confidence. So I hope that this reading was helpful. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to be a part of the family and haven't done so, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. If you're interested in a personal reading, just look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email and I'll send you a list of my services. All right, bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the Jeep with the words, "Remember, I love you." This will be your hype up session all about why you are awesome. The last 2 readings have been very beautiful, so I'm excited to get into yours. We've got 41 with the 3rd house and communication. Card number 20 with Mercury. We've got house. We've got 25, the confident. We've got trees. And we have familiar with guardian. Maybe I want to do it like this. So, of course, we can talk about the obvious. Group number 3, there is a confidence that you exude that people are very envious of. Even if you don't feel always confident, I think that other people see you as somebody very empowered. I think there are things in which you are very confident in. Maybe it might be about your style. You might have financial confidence. You might have confidence about your knowledge in certain aspects or your capabilities. You could be somebody who is very good with their hands and is a wonderful builder. You may have even built a house. Group number 3, which if you did, that's super dope. You could also have a wonderful sense of interior decorating or like just really making a home. Even if you just do like the basics, right? So one thing I noticed growing up as a child was that there was always a lot of stuff in my house, but my rich uncle kind of just had the bare minimum. And I learned like that's kind of a quality a lot of rich people have. They tend to spend like more money on fewer items. So even if you don't have a lot within your home, you are somebody who I think knows how to complement the space that you do have. And you probably have a beautiful yard, right? Like you might have some plants or decorations, and people are just very, very like inspired. They feel welcomed in your home. They feel safe. They feel like it's an attractive space. And there may be people who want you to kind of like decorate their space, right? Or give them instructions or tips on how they can better utilize their environments. You are obviously somebody who is very good at delivering messages. You are a powerful speaker, group number 3. You could, in fact, be some type of speaker, whether it's like you have a YouTube channel or you write books, you have a podcast, even in like a job, right? If you're like a team lead, you are able to empower people. You're somebody who's very good at understanding the points that you need to make. You know how to line them up succinctly and coherently, and you know how to deliver them in a way that helps people understand the point that you're trying to make. You could, in fact, be a very good debater. Like we see these two snakes like hissing at each other, almost as if they're going to attack each other. I feel like you're somebody who doesn't tend to get heated very easily in conversation. You're able to keep your wits about you. You're able to assess what other people are thinking and feeling and communicating. And you're very able to, like rapidly to come up with responses, which I don't know how you do it, group number 3. I really do not know how you do it, because that's why I'm better at like texting and writing letters and emails, because that gives me time to figure out what I want to say, how I want to say it. If I'm having to talk in person to somebody, I can put my foot in my mouth so flippin' easily, but I feel like that's a rare thing for you to do. You're somebody who is quick-witted. You are somebody who probably has a lot of information on bystand. So maybe you've read a lot of books, you watched a lot of documentaries, you've interned with people, and you're able to just kind of compartmentalize that information and just retrieve it at a moment's notice. You're somebody who is very eloquent, and I think you know how to phrase things in a way that people receive. So you know when it's time to be more empathic. You know when you need to deliver facts, cold, hard facts, maybe like a presentation. Then other times you know exactly when you need to try to apply a situation to a person's own circumstances, right? Because there are some people who don't know how to conceptualize ideas unless they can put themselves in those shoes. You're somebody who really is able to, I'm getting branch out. There's just this constant growth to you. And I feel like you're a breath of fresh air. Uh, and you stand out. Like, I'm getting, can't see the trees through the forest, but I don't feel like that applies to you. I feel like you're somebody who can stand out in a crowd, and that could be because of like your demeanor, how you carry yourself. Maybe you have a walk that's very distinct. Maybe you have a style that's very distinct. Maybe you have physical features that are very distinct. It could also just be that you have an energy that radiates off of you. Um, it just, even if you're not trying to, you draw attention to yourself. People are magnetized to you. They want to get to know you. They want to learn from you. They want to be near you because there's something about you that I think also makes other people grow. It kind of helps them expand their minds, and it helps them probably self-actualize, right? Like, some people are not self-aware, and I feel like you have the ability to make people self-aware. Oh gosh, I hope the mic didn't pick up my stomach just growling. Also, with being a familiar, people could just feel as if they know you. You could be somebody who is very easy to talk to, somebody that makes people feel comfortable, somebody that makes people feel safe. You probably get people who come to you for a lot of advice. And you are seen as kind of like a protector, right? This guardian. And maybe that's in general. And maybe you are a guardian. Like, you could be a guardian over a child or a minor. Maybe because you foster. Maybe you've just gotten custody over someone's child. Like, I do know somebody who had temporary custody over a friend's child because of other circumstances. You could be somebody who has adopted, but there's something about you, and it could be like you're, a guardian of the earth, right? Like, if you're an environmentalist, like, people see that you are very passionate about that cause and that you are taking steps to protect the environment or your community. Like, you could be somebody that people really have a high respect for in the community. Like, they know group number 3 is honest. Like, if you have a problem in the community, go see group number 3 because they can get you the connections. They can tell you where the best mechanic is. They can give you the number for their locksmith. If there's any sketchiness going on in the neighborhood, like, you can go see if they caught anything on their cameras. You might be somebody who is like head of neighborhood watch. You could be part of a security company. But there's something really trustworthy about you where people kind of put you in this position of like, I'm going to go see group number 3 because I have an issue and I need some help. And I feel like group number 3 really has the resources and the know-how on how I can handle this and how I can figure a solution out. You might also be very good with money. So people could ask you for advice with money. It's kind of weird how that's coming out, but that's what I'm thinking right now is just people could ask for your help with finances. People could look to you for investments, or they want to invest in something that you have going for you. There's just a level of practicality that you have that I think a lot of people are missing out on. And so when they meet you and they get to know you, they realize that you have this common sense. You have this ability to assess situations and notice patterns, notice trends, or you just have a really good knack with numbers. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I am getting here. You may be very knowledgeable in health. People could come to you for a lot of health advice, or maybe you've just really learned how to handle your own health. So especially if you've been struggling with health issues in the past, you may have done your own research. You may have gone to doctors and gotten a lot of information from them, and you've really figured out how to meet the needs of your own body, whether it's like a weight issue, a skin issue, a digestive issue, a hair issue. And so there's this feeling of like you're really good at taking care of your body. And I feel like, because see, even like these don't seem as at odds as like the snakes do, but I feel like you're really good at breaking up arguments too, right? Like you're able to see different points of views. And like we talked about earlier, you're able to adjust your arguments and your speech in the ways that you know will best like address a person's needs and get through to them. So you may have a very good background in psychology as well, or just naturally have psychological skills. You could even be a very good matchmaker. So you might be somebody who has been able to link up couples who end up staying together long term. Okay. You might have even gotten published, right? With like this communication. You might be somebody who is published in a magazine, a peer-reviewed journal, a book. And I feel like people don't mess with you, group number 3. Especially with that confidence card. Like, if they have beef with you, I feel like you're able to squash it fairly well because you just don't entertain nonsense. So we're going to look at how this will unexpectedly benefit you. How will this unexpectedly benefit group number 3? And both groups 1 and 2 did have some fairly specific situations. Okay, we got the Fool in reverse, so we'll see what comes up for you. How will this unexpectedly benefit group number 3? We've got the 8 of Wands in reverse with Death in reverse. We've got the 6 of Cups in reverse. Okay, can I get another one, please? And the Tower. Can I get a clarifier for the Fool? Can I get a clarifier for the Fool, please, on how this will unexpectedly... Okay, the King of Swords. How will this unexpectedly benefit? We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. And let's do a clarifier for the Tower, please, on how this will unexpectedly benefit group number 3. We got a few. We've got the Page of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and the 3 of Cups in reverse. I feel like this has something to relate to the past with. There's something that there was a starting with in the past. Something that never really got off the ground. Maybe somebody that you don't know very well. I want to see what we can get about this. The 5 of Swords in reverse. I feel like there's a peace offering potentially that's coming in, or someone who's coming in who maybe in the past there was an issue with them. They could have been somebody who was previously really aggressive, or maybe somebody that you kind of put in their place, and they're coming in to try to pick up where the two of you left off. And they're doing it in a way it's not confrontational, but it's almost like there's a delay, or like they're not, this energy it's giving me is kind of like beating around the bush, right? Like they're not really committing to change, or the situation isn't really committed to change, and it's kind of slow and dragging behind. And it's something that's trying like to hold on to the past. Like if this is, maybe if this was even like a childhood friend or something, they're coming back to you and they're just like, hey, group number 3, remember when it was so fun? Like we used to do all these things. Or if this is like, I'm getting for some of you, maybe you've struggled with like substance abuse and somebody's trying to bring that temptation back in. Whatever it is that's coming in from the past, it's no dice for you. Like you're stopping it in its tracks. And I think we have the Tower card here. There's going to be this shatter of illusions, or like this harsh reality that comes to light about how something negatively impacted you or negatively impacted the situation. And like the 3 of Cups in reverse can talk about like friends drifting apart, right? Relationships no longer being harmonious. So it could be like if someone invites you out for a drink, you could be, and maybe you've never shared it with them, you could be admitting like, hey, I actually used to struggle really heavily with alcoholism. So that's something I can't do. And they're going to have respect for that. If this is somebody from your past, and like, so maybe the way this is benefiting you is that like what may have been temptation for you in the past no longer is temptation for you. Like that's just completely destroyed. Any addictions that you had in the past, you're going to get to a point where you realize like, that's not where I am at this point. And I know that we talk about like, you know, an addict is always in recovery. There can always be things that trigger a relapse. Even if this was something like an eating disorder or any other form of addiction. But I think this might be the first time that you realize, like you feel confident that you're not at a point where that is a temptation anymore. That you actually feel stronger and that you feel like you have control over it and that you can live without it. For others of you, this is where you're finally able to make a breakthrough with somebody about like, this is what happened. This is why we're no longer friends. This is why I no longer talk with you. Or this is behavior of yours that really hurt me. And they're finally going to get it. Okay? Because maybe there needed to be a separation between the two of you, and they may have needed to get into a different kind of mentality, and you may have had to learn different techniques on how to communicate. Or maybe this is just the first time you've really been able to utilize what you do know about communication and psychology in this person. And you're going to be able to deliver the news in a way that they finally get it. So maybe it results in them changing their behaviors, maybe it doesn't, but it allows your perspective to be heard. It allows the dynamic to change, so they're no longer trying to bring something negative into your life, even if that negative thing is them. And it's kind of like cutting the cord, breaking away from something negative. Okay, so now we'll get some affirmations on how you can maintain this confidence. What affirmation do we have for group number 1 about maintaining this confidence or knowing they're badass? Okay. Don't take it personally. If someone starts to speak unkindly to me, I'll remember that they've got something going on that has nothing to do with me. Like maybe they just pooped their pants. Yes, that's probably it. And that could be in relation to whatever, if this is a past person and there was a conflict with them. You know, we talked about this confidence, about how you've gotten to a point in your life where you're no longer taking foolishness. And so just remember to hold on to that, because especially like if this is somebody that maybe the trigger was really deep, or maybe like this is somebody that you did have an attachment to. If they come at you with some criticisms, just remember to like hold strong in that, right? And then engagement. Today, make the conscious choice to engage with the world in an active way. I'll take a new route and talk to strangers. I will smell flowers and pet dogs, and maybe walk around barefoot for a while if I'm not inside a 7-Eleven. At the very least, I'll have a day that's slightly more interesting than average, and at the most, I'll have a startling epiphany or make a friend who will change my life forever. No pressure. And like we said, we talked about, you're constantly growing, and that can talk about growth through experiences and growth through connections. So what other mantra do you have for group number 3 to maintain this confidence? Forgiveness brings freedom. And it could be forgiveness for yourself, group number 3, or it could be forgiveness for somebody else, right? So that's where I'm going to leave you. If you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. And if you would like to be a part of the family and haven't done so, you can always hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. And if you are interested in a personal reading, just look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email and I'll send you a list of my services. Bye.